What sphinx of cement and aluminum bashed open their skulls and ate up their brains and imagination? Moloch, solitude, filth, ugliness, ash cans, and unobtainable dollars, children screaming under the stairways, boys sobbing in armies, old men weeping in the parks. Moloch, Moloch, nightmare of Moloch, Moloch the loveless, mental Moloch, Moloch the heavy judger of men. What we see first thing in section 2 is Moloch, 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 Moloch. So the first thing that springs to mind for the reader is, well, who or what is Moloch? Now, Allen Ginsberg was Jewish, and if you remember from reading in the Hebrew Bible, when the Israelites came to the promised land, there were people already living there, the Canaanites. And the Canaanites had their own pantheon of gods, and one of their gods was Moloch. And it was to the god Moloch that the Canaanites would sacrifice their firstborn child. The Canaanites practiced human sacrifice, which is why a lot of people, when they read through those accounts in the Old Testament, they go, "Gosh, why does God command, the Israelites to go into the Promised Land, to go into Canaan and kill everybody?" Well, because they were practicing, child sacrifice, and the evil had to be wiped out. So what Ginsberg is doing is he's taking that idea of sacrifice, right, that were those pagans were practicing, and he's using Moloch as a metaphor for that. So Moloch in turn becomes like a metaphor for all of the different oppressive forces in postmodern America. And okay, so then we could, right? So what is that? Moloch is a metaphor. So what is Moloch doing here? Well, representing oppression, the idea of sacrifice, as well how soul-crushing postmodern life has become. Boys sobbing in armies, old men weeping in parks, children screaming under the stairways. Yeah, this is what we hear in section 2. Remember trying to come up with a single word to represent each section. Section 2 would be rebellion. Rebellion against all of these different parts of American life. So what do we see some of the different parts of American life? So rebellion against industrialization. We saw that before in section 1. Whoops, there we go. Rebellion against industrialization. Another thing rebelling against: consumerism. Right? Yeah, we still have that with us today. Another thing, the rebelling against the conformity to societal norms. And again, with this one, this is what we looked at earlier, and we talked about in terms of the counterculture. So this is where we get that. So Moloch, whose eyes are 1,000 blind windows. Moloch, whose skyscrapers stand in the long streets like endless Jehovah's. Moloch, whose factories dream and croak in the fall. Moloch, whose smokestacks and antenna crown the city. What do we see there? Industrialization. Moloch, whose buildings are judgment. Moloch, the vast stone of war. The military industrial complex that is the result of World War II is here, boom, right? Oh, really, really bleak. And so what happens is that Ginsburg is urging people to return to that sense of humanity that they've lost. Then we get through the rebellion and things settle down when we reach section 3. So in section 3, we have redemption. Before, we had Moloch in section 2. And now here we have Carl Solomon. So who's Carl? Carl was a good friend of Allen Ginsberg's. He was hospitalized for mental health and underwent shock therapy. And it was really, really upsetting to Ginsberg to have a really close friend of his be hospitalized when the same thing happened to his mother. Allen Ginsberg's mother was also hospitalized for mental health issues. So that's why Allen Ginsberg says, where you imitate the shade of my mother. And by the way, Carl Solomon did not murder 12 secretaries. He didn't do anything like that. And what happens in this third part as we start to move towards that spirituality that was missing in the first. Excuse me. Right, we can see this. Some of the different things that we see, right? 50 more shocks. That's the shock therapy that happened in the hospitals at the time. I know, kind of, right? Another instance here where you scream straitjacket, that you're losing the game of the actual ping pong of the abyss. So we're seeing everything that Carl is going through, and Ginsberg is identifying with it. So it's like that he's starting to live through his friend and all of the troubles, the psychiatric problems that he went through. So Carl Solomon becomes a personal symbol for Ginsberg. That all of the experiences that Carl went through with his madness and all the trouble become a lens for Ginsberg until finally we reach the end. I'm with you in Rockland, where we hug and kiss the United States under our bed sheets, the United States that coughs all night and won't let us sleep. I'm with you in Rockland, where we wake up electrified out of the coma by our own souls, aeroplanes roaring over the roof. They've come to drop angelic bombs. The hospital illuminates itself. Imaginary walls collapse. Oh, skinny legions run outside. What's happening, right? The walls here have what? Collapsed. What are we doing? We're fleeing. Oh, star-spangled shock of mercy, the eternal war is here. Oh, victory, forget your underwear, we're free. I'm with you in Rockland. In my dreams, you walk dripping from a sea journey on the highway across America in tears to the door of my cottage in the western night. What do we see here? We see redemption as well as reunion, where Ginsburg and his close friend are reunited. And yeah, there's so much going on and Howl through all of these different sections. And it really has, it takes a while for it to accumulate upon us. And again, what you want to do is you want to read through this poem, try to get it, and one reading, read it out loud, and let it accumulate on you. All of those different sections, right? Alienation, rebellion, redemption, reunion. What we wanted to have at the beginning, we finally get to at the end. So I know that's a really, really brief look into Howl. Urge you just to dive deeper into it more on your own and learn more about the Beat generation. When I was in college, my friends and I, we were really, really into the Beats. Hopefully it'll light a fire within you. So until we get to be together again, be well, do good work, and keep in touch.